Look like we live, man. Contender regime boxing checking back in with y'all, man. What's good? What's happening, man? You know, it's it's fight night eve. You dig what I'm saying? You know, I had to hop on here and chop it up with y'all one time, man, on this beautiful, beautiful Friday afternoon in Dallas, Texas. We got Earl the True Spence Jr. versus Yordenis Ugas. Unification matches going down tomorrow night. You dig what I'm saying? We got Stanionis versus Butayev going down tomorrow night. Isak Cruz versus Eurycris Gamboa. It's going down, man. A lot of great fights, man. It's gonna be a hell of a night for boxing tomorrow night. The city gonna be lit, man. You know what I'm saying? And I got some things I gotta talk to y'all about, man. I just wanna, pick y'all brain, man. See how y'all feeling, see how y'all vibing. You know, it's the day before the fight. Shout out to my brother Phil J508 in the building. What's good? Shout out to my brother Rivera Frazier in the building. Strap season. You already know what time it is. You already know what time it is. You feel me? You already know what time it is, man. It's going down. I know y'all seen Earl with them black Air Forces on. I know y'all seen I know y'all seen EJ with them black forces on now. Hey, man. I know y'all seen EJ with them black forces on now. Okay. All right. Shout out to the brother Glenn Isaac in the building. What's good? Educated Jab in the building. What's good, man? Appreciate you for pulling up, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button as you slide through. It's greatly appreciated, man. You know, it's greatly appreciated. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's going down. I know y'all seen EJ with them black forces on now. I know y'all seen it. Bruh standing on business. Bruh, he on some gang activity right now. Errol Spence on demon time right now, man. Bruh came to the weigh-in. Shout out to Ogas, too. Ogas looked real good at the weigh-in. You know, but I expected that. I expected Yordenis Ugas to be in excellent shape. He always has a really healthy weight cut. And, he always looked good leading up to the fight and then on the way in and then also on fight night. That's one thing I've always admired about Ugas. He's always in the best condition you could possibly be in. Errol Spence Jr. looked phenomenal. Excellent shape. And this is one of the healthiest that I've ever seen Errol Spence, especially in the last 3 or 4 years. This is like one of the healthiest I've seen Errol Spence. I look at things like that, like go back to when Terrence Crawford fought Kell Brook. Kell Brook looked good with the abs and shit. You know, he was cut up and shit from the shoulders, from the traps, the shoulders, the abs, and all that shit. But in the face, when he took that mask off, motherfucker had like his cheekbones was all sunken in and shit. He was looking fucked up. That's what made me like start rethinking what I had picked initially. I'm like, damn, because I was looking at his physique, but then I looked at his face. I'm like, bro, he drained as fuck. But the difference with Errol Spence, he looked healthy in the face. You know what I'm saying? Still got good color in his face. You want to see his cheekbones all sunken in and shit. He looked healthy. He looked like he did at the Kell Brook weigh-in. Go back to the Kell Brook weigh-in. This Errol Spence looks exactly like that as far as health-wise and just being in the making the weight cut healthy. And that was very pleasing for me to see. Another thing was when he got off the scale, he didn't immediately go get fluids. He didn't immediately go to the Pedialyte or the water. He was like, shit, he went and got his belts and went straight up there with Ugas for the face-off. You know what I'm saying? That let me know he wasn't depleted. You know, he wasn't immediately going after the fluids. And that stood out to me. That let me know the brother he not dehydrated. Yeah, of course, I know he hungry. He want to drink his fluids, and I know he going to rehydrate well. But when you see a guy after the weigh-in and they don't immediately, they look good, and then on top of that, they don't immediately grab the fluids. That lets you know he made the weight cut in a healthy fashion. Shout out to my brother Steven in the building. What's good? Shout out to my brother Derek Lincoln in the building. Shout out to the OG, Mr. Munn in the building. What's good, man? Love having you pull up on me, man. Appreciate you for pulling up. Shout out to the brother Sterling Jameson in the building. What's good? G Mays, my brother G Mays in the building, man. What's happening? Shout out to the brother Mark Hermillo in the building. What's good? Appreciate y'all boys for pulling up, man. Said cut up like a bag of dope. Big facts. Errol Spence cut up like a bag of dope, looking in excellent condition, and he looked strong. And, you know, I said in previous videos that at the Mikey Garcia weigh-in, I thought he looked weak and frail. Just being honest. I said that back then. And then in the Sean Porter weigh-in, he looked better than he did in the Mikey Garcia weigh-in, but he looked worse on fight night. I thought Errol Spence looked better on fight night than he did on fight versus Mikey than he did on fight night versus Sean. He looked more full, like he rehydrated better or in a more healthy fashion. But at the weigh-in with Sean, he looked better than he did versus Mikey, but then fight night, he looked drained. He was small as fuck and he looked like lethargic and shit. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, Errol Spence is in the best shape that I've seen him probably ever. But if you had to compare, you would have to go back to the Leonard Bundu fight. You would have to go back to the Chris Algieri fight. You'd have to go back to the Kell Brook fight. Shout out to the Queen Neek J in the building. The lovely Neek J, man. Thank you for pulling up. Said, oh, you're early today. Yeah, you know. You know what I'm saying? I had to handle some business. I was off. You feel me? I'm about to get out here and touch the streets real quick. You feel me? But I wanted to get on here and chop it up with y'all, man. Have a little drink. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? And you know, get y'all final thoughts, man. See how y'all feeling. You know, catch a vibe one time with y'all, man. You know, I see one of the brothers just brought up, like I said earlier, man, Errol Spence had the Black Air Forces on, man. He on demon time. You know, he on some gang activities right now. You feel me? Bro on some gang activities right now. It's going down. Eat or get ate. That's what the man said. G-May say he gonna be around 165. Yeah, I think, me personally, I think that's a sweet spot for Earl. On fight night, 165. You don't want to get too big and be all slow and lethargic and sluggish and shit. You know, but you want to have enough. And it really ain't even about the actual, like, putting the pounds on. It's about getting to, you know, rehydrating, getting the nutrients back in you and like being refueled and having that energy. And whatever weight gives you that feeling that you need to be energized, be able like to feel like, okay, now this physical specimen that I've created throughout this training camp, now I can actually use that to its full benefit and to its maximum abilities and go out there and put my skills on display. That's what that rehydration is all about. And I think for Errol Spence being around 165, that's perfect. That's perfect. I think he'll be strong. I think he'll have the energy. I think he'll be in that mode where, okay, I can throw as many punches as I need to get what I need to get done. If I need to press the action on Ugas, you know what I'm saying, and throw 70 to 90 punches around. If I need to do that, I can do that. And then later on in the fight, when Ugas start to slow down, you know, because Ugas gonna be in hella shape too. He is in hella shape. But, you know, later on in the fight, guys tend to slow down, whereas Errol Spence tends to actually rev up the pressure and the intensity and the energy. That's one of the staples of Errol Spence. It's one of the things that makes him unique and very dominant in fights. He's already a highly skilled fighter, but on top of that, he has an advantage going into the late rounds because he's getting stronger. He's throwing more punches with the same thudding power, with the same consistency, with the same type of pressure. That's a very difficult style to beat, and it's a very difficult type of fight to have to go through as an opponent of Errol Spence. Shout out to my brother, Punch Perfect Boxing in the building, man. Make sure y'all subscribe to Punch Perfect Boxing. You know, putting on for the UK, doing this thing, man. One of the best out here doing it. You feel me? Said the Black Air Forces said it all. It's over. Spence in 10 or less. Big facts. That's how I see it, man. Y'all seen my prediction. I said 9 rounds, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 10. But I agree, Nick J. I think 10 or less. That's the sweet spot for me. I think 10 or less. Shout out to the brother Presidential Mike in the building. What's good? They don't realize how hard it is to win a round. He retracted the statement. Shout out to the brother Ruben Escobedo in the building. What's good? He say, man down already. Mad Chad Sports Tavern in the building. Salute. What's good? Appreciate y'all boys for pulling up. Shout out to my brother R. West in the building. Dante Howell in the building. Said both of them brothers going to be around a solid 160 on fight night. I totally agree. I think Ogas going to be very strong. I say Ogas probably be between 160. Dare I say maybe get up as close to 170, like 167, 168, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Nick Will in the building, what's good? Salute. Said they don't realize how hard it is to win a round versus Earl. He too active. Exactly. That's what it is, bro. See, I think a lot of people, bro, they don't really look at boxing from an overall standpoint. They just look at things from a straight up and down standpoint. And styles really do make fights. And when you think about styles, you got to think about tendencies. And a tendency for Errol Spence is a high volume, high work rate. A tendency of his is also to use the jab constantly. A tendency is to throw a lot of punches. A tendency is to get stronger as the fight goes. So when you got a guy like that, now we ain't even talked about the skills. Those are just tendencies. Those are just things that make up his style, his primary style, because we seen him fight multiple styles. We seen him go out there and do different things on different nights. But we ain't even mentioned the skills. All I just mentioned, those things that I just said, all those are tendencies. Those are things that make up his style. So when you take on top of that, the footwork with the pivot and distance control, the jab, the different variations of it. You know what I'm saying? When you look at his timing, his accuracy, punch placement, you dig what I'm saying? Ring IQ. When you put everything else on top of the tendencies and the styles, bro, that's a difficult style to beat. That's why I always say you have to hurt Errol Spence. I really don't see nobody at 147, maybe not even 154, just outboxing Earl and just making him look like he don't belong in a ring with them, or just like outskilling him, out evading him. I don't really see that, bro, because he cuts off the ring better than anybody in the sport of boxing. He applies intelligent pressure, and he has a fucking motor on him. So what you gonna have to do with that? You gotta hurt that man. Shout out to my brother Tex Rock in the building. What's good? You gotta hurt that man. You gotta hurt him. I mean, that's what it boils down to. You gotta hurt him. If you can't hurt him and you can't keep him from coming forward, you're gonna lose. You either gonna get stopped or you're gonna lose on the cards. And let me tell you something about Ugas. I love Ugas, and I think he's a very skilled counterpuncher. Very underrated, just boxer in general. But this is what's going to be Ugas' undoing versus Errol Spence. He throws like single shots a lot. You know what I'm saying? He's primarily a counterpuncher. Now, if it's somebody that's going to allow him to be first and come forward, he will be your huckleberry. He will come forward. That's another thing that I like about Ugas in this fight with Earl, because I know at some point they gonna lock horns in the middle of the ring and it's gonna be a fight. So that's the entertainment factor in this fight. That's why I think Earl gonna stop him. You know what I'm saying? But Ugas, he throws single shots. He's a counterpuncher. He like to wait on you and let you throw some, and then he go back to the Manny Pacquiao fight, go back to the Sean Porter fight. He like to wait on you, especially if you're a southpaw. He gonna counter over your jab with the orthodox jab. You know what I'm saying? And then he gonna be looking to throw that overhand right. He gonna be looking to throw the straight right. You feel me? He gonna be looking to counter you, and he throws single shots. Where he gonna fuck up at with Earl is Earl gonna be throwing punches and bunches. So when Ugas get up in that high guard like that, Earl go to the body, bring them hands down, come over the top with a right hook, it might be good night. You know what I'm saying? Earl ain't gonna just throw one punch at a time. Earl gonna be throwing punches and bunches, especially when he get a motherfucker like Lamont Peterson was. How Lamont Peterson was, when Earl had an onslaught going on him and Lamont had to fold up. What Earl was doing? He was throwing punches. Even if them bitches wasn't landing, he hitting wrists, he knocking your shit down. That shit hurt. He hitting shoulders, he hitting neck, whatever he can hit. That's why I say that Ugas being a bigger fighter, that might be a detriment to him, because what that mean? That mean a bigger target. You know what I'm saying? That mean more shit for Earl to hit on. You dig what I'm saying? Shout out to the OG, Mr. Munt, in the super chat coming through and showing love. He said Ugas is normally able to get his opponents to stop their exchanging because of his countering ability. Facts. But what does he do when Earl don't stop? Exactly. Shout out to the brother Jay Smith in the building. What's good? Shout out to my brother Devin Blocker in the building, man. Always coming through holding it down. Salute to the brother Vincent Thomas. Vincent Thames in the super chat coming through and showing love. Hey man, it's the alcohol, bro. Please don't blame me. I'm sorry I messed up your name, brother, but I appreciate you for coming through in the super chat showing love. What's good? Malik Woody in the building. What's good? Said Earl KO is plus 175 right now. Okay. You can get some money on that. Now. Shout out to my brother Lord Swear Real in the building. Shout out to B More in the building. My brother Mike Biggs boxing in the building. What's good? Said Spence just does everything better than Ugas, offense and defense and footwork. Facts, man. Facts. It's gonna be one of those situations where you have a really, really good fighter in Yordenis Ugas who's very skilled, has a great base, like great fundamentals, hell of a coach. So the corner is good. It's going to be one of those situations where you just got a really good fighter versus what I believe, and I know there's mixed opinions on this, but I believe Errol Spence is a great fighter. I believe Errol Spence is an elite fighter. And with the mentality that he has going into this fight, it's like Ugas can do a lot of good things, but Errol Spence can do everything Ugas can do, but way better. You know what I'm saying? And it just so happened that it's a unification match, which makes the fight very, very meaningful. Now, Errol Spence, like he said in recent interviews, he said every belt I done won, I done took from somebody. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no, I done collected, I just beat one guy, got all the belts, so I, fought for a vacant belt type shit. It's like every belt he done won, he had to go snatch that bitch off somebody. So this is a very meaningful fight with him going towards his goal to be undisputed versus the great Terrence Crawford. A fight that all of us are looking forward to, right? And another aspect is this is a hometown fight. Now, Errol Spence is different from a lot of these guys, and I said this about Terrence Crawford as well. I don't know if y'all remember when Terrence Crawford, he had like a string of fights that he was doing in Omaha. You know what I'm saying? Where the crowd was crazy. It was like you can tell them folk came to see Terrence Crawford fight in that small hub in Omaha, Nebraska. They came out there to see Terrence fight, and he rose to the occasion. It's like he thrived in that type of atmosphere. A lot of guys, they don't thrive when they fight at home. They start getting out their body, start getting outside their mind and doing shit that's uncharacteristic, taking unnecessary chances, and start fighting like, unlike themselves. And you see sometimes motherfuckers get caught with dumb shit. Motherfuckers, they just look bad. You know what I'm saying? They trying to either do too much to prove something to the fans or like put on a show, or they get nervous because you got your teacher from second grade in the stands and shit. You know what I'm saying? You got friends and family and cousins who can't travel that never seen you fight live. Now they finally get to see you. Now you nervous and your grandma at the fight and shit. You nervous as fuck. Errol Spence is one of those guys, he relished in this moment fighting at home. This shit motivate him even more. I've seen Earl fight at home, what, about 4, 5, 6 times now. The dude, now he's actually, particularly in Cowboy Stadium, he's going to be the only fighter to main event 3 times at Cowboy Stadium. You know, Mikey, Danny, and now Yordenis Ugas. The only fighter to ever do that. So it's like Errol Spence is one of those guys where he turn up. The intensity go up. That shit don't make him nervous. He go crazy. That shit make him, he more focused. You feel me? It's like the switch is turned on and he really go out there and just perform at the highest level. So I think that's another thing that you got to take into account. This really is a home field advantage for Errol Spence. For a lot of fighters, when they fight at home, it's not a home field advantage because they don't perform the same. But this really is a home field advantage for Errol Spence. Shout out to my brother G5 Gabe in the building. Hey, subscribe to my brother G5 Gabe, man. Always talking some good boxing over there, man. Salute. Say you finna be there. No, I'm actually doing like a little fight party vibe with the fam. Me and my pops, my pops is a big Errol Spence fan, and we always just watch the fight. Every Errol Spence fight, we watch together. You know what I'm saying? And we always just do like a little fight party thing, bro. So we gonna be at the crib, at my parents' crib, man. We gonna have some food, you know, watch the fight, man. Just have a good old time. And then after that, you know, I'm definitely gonna try to touch the city, man. And Saturday, Sunday, it's up. It's up, man. Shout out to Tyra Hudson in the building. What's good? What's happening, man? I appreciate y'all for pulling up. Shout out to my brother Murray in the building. What's happening? But this really and truly is a hometown fight for Errol the True Spence Jr. This is a hometown fight, and Yordenis Ugas gonna feel that shit. Now, another thing that you gotta take into account as well is just like how Earl went over there and fought Kell Brook, and literally Kell Brook's backyard, that shit, Earl is a competitor, an elite competitor. That shit, right, that rose up his level of intensity going overseas, being on the road. Now, Ugas might be that same type of guy. There is a chance, because Ugas is game. I don't think he got the same amount of dog Earl Spence got, but I think he game. So Ugas might be in that bitch. Okay, he heard people chanting Earl Spence's name, everybody talking about man down and all this shit. Ugas might be in that hole trying to go crazy. So that's another element that you got to take into account. You know, we might get an elevated level of Yordenis Ugas in this fight. And I'm excited. Shout out to the brother Ramad King in a super chat coming through and showing love. He said a lot of people keep bringing up the Manny fight, but forget Ugas was getting touched early. That shit not gonna work against Earl, best boxing channel. Man, I appreciate that, bro. That mean a lot, dog. And I agree with you totally, bro. I thought that Yordenis Ugas had a good performance versus Manny Pacquiao, especially him being an underdog in that fight. However, we cannot discount the fact that Manny was touching him. And here's another thing. I'm glad you brought that Manny Pacquiao fight up, because if you look at the success that Yordenis Ugas had versus Manny, not taking nothing away from him, but what did you see? I mean, you see this in Manny fights a lot, but what did you see mostly? Most of Yordenis Ugas' counters came off of what? Manny Pacquiao doing what? Lunging in and falling short. He's a smaller guy with shorter arms, and Yordenis Ugas easily took a back step, counter with the jab, countering over Manny's jab, you know, or easily took a back step, bringing the sneaky overhand right. Errol Spence not going to be lunging in, looking all desperate and shit. He got the longer reach. You feel me? He's the same size fighter. He's not going to have to take those unnecessary chances that Manny Pacquiao was taking with just a hope of getting in and landing a shot. Errol Spence is going to control the distance. He going to control the pace. And he going to be able to get off whenever he want to get off. You know why? Because Yordenis Ugas is going to let Errol Spence be first. He going to let Errol Spence be first. Shout out to my brother Diavian Bob in the building. What's good? And shout out to my brother Knockout Boxing 86 TV in the building. He says Spence round 8 to 9 stoppage, he's stepping on shit tomorrow. Big facts. 100, bruh. Yeah. And I missed y'all. I know you do your predictions. Hey, shout out to Knockout Boxing 86 TV, man. Great show. I know you do your predictions on Thursdays. I missed your shit. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it, man, because I want to hear your breakdown and all that. You feel me? But my man say 8th or 9th round stoppage. Bruh, I see it the same way. I see it the same way. Shout out to the brother Marlon Premius in the building. What's good? Said, also, both fighters tend to shell up when their opponents are letting their hands go. So who's going to be throwing the most punches? Earl all day. Ugas going to be shelled up, taking a beat. Facts. Facts. See, that's the thing with and there's a difference with Spence and Ugas on that. You know, because Ugas really, he'll shell up and just sit there and wait until all the fire is gone, or he see an opening to counter. And he real good at finding those openings. I made a video on that a couple of months ago. The difference with him and Errol Spence is he's willing to throw in an exchange. He might, parry, and he got a great high guard, so he gonna put that high guard up, you know what I'm saying, and just kind of get a feel for what you throwing and see, okay, is he throwing 1 or 2, or is he throwing 3 or 4? What is he doing? When can I have my opportunity to get something off? He gonna see how you moving, and if you get 3 or 4 off early on in the fight, that next time you throw 3 or 4, he not just gonna sit there and shell up. He gonna parry one and then, come back with that jab and straight left. You feel me? He ain't just finna sit back and just let you beat on him and shit. Hell no. He gonna go back to the Sean Porter fight. They was going blow for blow, blow for blow. You know what I'm saying? Earl, the head movement was very underrated in that fight. You know what I'm saying? Head move, very underrated. He parrying shit. He ducking and dodging shit. You feel me? That's where Ugas gonna fuck up at. Throwing those 1 shots. Because he throw 1, maybe 2. Earl coming back with 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. I'm going to tell y'all like this. I think Earl going to stop him with a right hook. I think it's going to be a right hook. I think it's going to be a right hook to the top of the head. Do y'all remember, go back to the Phil Greco fight. And no, I'm not comparing Ugas to Phil Greco. I think Ugas is leaps and bounds better than Phil Greco, right? But remember how Phil Greco he started to be, in my opinion, a little bit too aggressive versus Earl in that fight, trying to prove a point and shit. And then you see how Earl was going to the body so much, he got Phil Greco to bring his hands down and start really to primarily focus on protecting his body. What was the first punch he dropped Greco with? A right hook to the head. You know what I'm saying? Right hook to the head. That bitch kind of grazing right on top of the head. He gonna, just like Leonard Bundu as well. He gonna stop Yordenis Ugas with a right hook. Gonna be to the top of the head. It might be to the body too, but I think it's gonna be a right hook to the top of the head. Because Ugas gonna be primarily trying to protect his body. Shout out to my brother, No Excuses. Is Levels Boxing in the building. What's good? Brolic raised like Brody and Brawley in the building. What's good? Said if Ugas shell up, he gonna get broken. Facts. Black Star Sports TV in the building. What's good? Shout out to my brother Groundwork Entertainment. What's happening? You know what I'm saying? Man, I appreciate y'all boys for pulling up on me, man. You know what I'm saying? Having a little drink with your boy. You know what I mean? It's Fight Night Eve, baby. Said Bundu type right hook. Yeah, that right hook he put Leonard Bundu to sleep with, I can definitely see that. Shout out to my brother No Excuses. It's Level Boxing in that super chat coming through and showing love. He said easy work. We'll be doing our breakdown in a couple hours. Hey, subscribe to No Excuses. It's Level Boxing as well. Those guys are actual real boxing trainers. And they also do breakdowns, film study. They do all that type of shit on their YouTube. So make sure y'all go subscribe to them as well. I had them on the show we did a show a few months ago, man. So, and I'm definitely gonna bring them back on the show, man. But y'all make sure y'all subscribe to them. Those are real live boxing trainers. You know what I'm saying? And they really can give you some good game, you know, on this here sport of boxing. Shout out to my brother G5 Gabe in that super chat coming through and showing love. He said, appreciate your grind and consistency, bro. I thank you, bro. I appreciate you, dog. Appreciate you always supporting and coming through, man, showing love. 100, man. It's all love, bro. Wesley Lewis in the building. What's good? Say he dropped Lamont. Yup, he sure did. He dropped Lamont Peterson with the. But what was Lamont Peterson doing when he got hit with that right hook? Shelled up. Why? Because of the body attack. He dropped Lamont Peterson with the same right hook over the top of the head, grazed up. Cause motherfuckers get they best motherfuckers have their best guard up on her with Errol Spence, because it's like, you know, see, you gotta try to protect everything. You don't know if he gonna hit the body or the head. You feel me? So motherfuckers be shelled the fuck up. So Earl, with his accuracy and punch placement, he'll still land that bitch right on the top of the dome, and that bitch will knock your equilibrium off. You know what I'm saying? You get hit with too many of them hoes clean, oh, it'll fuck you up. You know, they say Earl don't really got power like that and all, you know, which is some bullshit, you know. He got enough power to put a motherfucker down. You know, he hit you with them hoes a couple of times. You feel me? Your ass going down. You know, you get hit with too many clean shots like your ass going down. I don't give a fuck who you is. You dig what I'm saying? So, the same shot. Don't be surprised if you see a right hook to the top of the head that's going to drop Yordenis Ugas. I'm telling you. Said another punch is a left hook to the head. That backhand left hook is vicious as Algerian Porter. Facts. I love how, you know what's funny? The same way Ugas throws his looping right hook, Errol Spence has a looping left hook. You know, you seen in like the real short, tight left hook that he hit Sean Porter with and dropped him. But Errol Spence also throws a really sneaky, you know, he'll have the jab going, you know, mixing that bitch up, and then he'll bring a sneaky left hook behind that bitch. That motherfucker dangerous. Facts. You know, another thing, going back to the right hook, Errol Spence got a great, go back to that Algieri fight. You seen how he had Algieri on the back foot. What'd he do? He jumped in with a lead right hook to the body. You know what I'm saying? I really think the right hook is going to be big in this fight. And we ain't really seen Earl do a lot of damage with the right hook in the last couple of fights. I think in this fight, and I don't have no, you know, I fuck with Derrick James, I fuck with Errol Spence, you feel me? But I don't have no inside information on what they game plan gonna be. But something is telling me that they focusing on that right hook. Something is telling me that they focusing on that right hook. I think it's gonna be big in this fight. I think it's gonna be big. Shout out to the brother R. West in the super chat coming through and showing love. He said, just because I appreciate your analysis and channel, salute. Man down. Hey, big facts, bro. Appreciate that, dog. I appreciate you for pulling up, man. You know what I'm saying? My boy said, Charlo say Earl hit like a 170 pounder. I believe it, bro. And see, this is the thing, bro. This is the thing. I believe we've seen Errol Spence knock out Leonard Bundu with one punch. Had him sleep. Motherfuckers acting like they forget that bro was asleep. We seen him get Chris Algieri on the ropes and knock his ass out cold. Damn near, he was out. You feel me? Earl wasn't really landing all those. That wasn't really accumulation. That was the 5th round, and it wasn't really accumulation. He dropped him before that, but it wasn't really accumulation. He hit his ass with the same left hook he hit Sean Porter with and knocked his ass out. He got one punch knockout power, but that's not even my argument here. A lot of people, they don't really understand how taxing it is to have a guy with consistent hard shots throughout the night. Chris Van Heerden, he really broke this shit down perfectly. Chris Van Heerden did an interview where they was asking him about what was it like versus facing Errol Spence and Jerron Bruce Ennis. And he was talking about punching power, right? Now he said undoubtedly Jerron Bruce Ennis' punches hit harder. This is coming from Chris Van Heerden. He said he felt like Jerron Bruce Ennis had more one-punch power. But the way he described Errol Spence was some shit that I would never want to go through myself either. You feel me? Like, he said that Errol Spence is, every shot is like a hard shot. If every shot might not be devastating. Every shot may not, it ain't gonna be no Deontay Wilder shit. You know what I'm saying? But every shot is a hard shot and it's consistent and it's like, boom. Like, listen to how Derrick James and Errol Spence do the pass. That shit be sounding like, it's like every shot is hard, it's consistent. You got to deal with that from round after round after round after round. That shit is taxing. You gonna get stopped if you don't got nothing coming back from that, bruh. Motherfucker not gonna last. Shout out to my brother Alaman Cruz. Motherfucker not gonna last no 12 rounds when you got Errol Spence in the best shape like he in right now. Bro, you're not gonna last 12 rounds unless your boxing ability crazy or you can hurt Spence and kind of like make him respect you a little bit more. Like, that shit, every shot. Listen to him on the pads. Y'all think I'm playing? Go back and watch Errol Spence and Derrick James pad work. That shit be like pop, 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 pop. That's how Chris Van Heerden described being in the ring with Errol Spence. It's like a consistent flow of hard thudding shots. That's hard to deal with, bro. And on top of that, you got a mean-ass jab and hella pressure coming behind it. That's tough. That's tough. That's tough. That's tough. Angry Brit. Shout out to the brother Angry Brit in the building. Said Earl packs real power. IQ is insane. I really don't see anyone beating him, not even Bud. I agree with you 100%, man. I agree. And, you know, I'm ready. I don't want to jump ahead because Earl got to take care of business tomorrow night. You know, I think he will. You know, I think Ugas is a really good fighter, man, but I just don't see him. I just don't see him beating this version of Errol Spence, man. Maybe in 2019 he possibly could have had a chance. But right now, I don't see it, bro. I just think Earl is on a mission and he wants to fight Terrence Crawford. I think Earl knows that Terrence Crawford is gonna be, you know, that's the fight. You know, he recognizes and understands how skilled and how great Terrence Crawford is. You know, and I think we're going to get an even better version of Errol Spence going into that fight, man, because you got to be on that level. If you're going to beat Terrence Crawford, you got to go to that next level. You got to turn up. You know what I'm saying? You got to be on your game. And I think Errol Spence recognized that shit. You feel me? Shout out to the OG Mr. Munt back in that super chat coming through and showing love. He said Van Heerden said each punch is at 80%. Facts. That's exactly what it, and like, that's hard to deal with, bro. Because think about it like this. You got to put that in context. Even in the 10th, 11th, and 12th round. Most of these dudes they not hitting like that in the 10th round. They not even hitting like that in the 7th round. These dudes might come out in the first 3 or 4 rounds hitting hard. But in the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, they not hitting like that. Errol Spence hitting hard all fucking night. He hitting hard from round 1 to round 12. And it's consistent. It's tough to beat a guy like that, man. You not, I don't see nobody like winning no decision. I don't see nobody winning no decision on Earl. You gotta knock him out. Just like Sebastian Fundora. Sebastian Fundora at 154. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. It's gonna be hard to win a decision on that guy. Because you see that, you can say, in my opinion, I still think Erickson Lubin was the more skilled boxer. I think Erickson Lubin was the guy that had the more tools in his toolbox. I think Erickson Lubin had, more things that he could do. But when you got a guy like Sebastian Fundora with power, he's tall as fuck, but not even just that, it's the power, it's the pressure, it's the punch rate, the work rate, it's the relentlessness, and he got a beard on him. And he got a chin on him. Don't that sound familiar? If you can't hurt Errol Spence, what the fuck you gonna do? If you can't hurt Sebastian Fundora, and Lubin was able to hurt him, but what'd he do? He got back up and he kept going. He kept going. What you gonna do? You gotta knock his ass out. I'm telling you, if you gonna beat Errol Spence, you gotta stop him. And if you gonna beat Fundora, you gotta stop him. You gotta stop him. You not finna dance around the ring and outbox Fundora and make it look all pretty and, oh, I'm the best counterpuncher ever. I'm gonna just line him up and run him into shots. No, he gonna cut that ring off and he gonna pound on your ass until you do something that make him think otherwise. Until you hurt him bad enough to where he lose confidence. He like, you know what? I don't think I want to keep coming forward. I don't think you got to hit him hard enough to make Fundora be like, I don't know if I want no more of that. Same thing with Errol Spence. You got to hit Errol Spence with some shit where Earl be like, I don't know. I don't know if I want no more of that. Change his whole style up. And then at that point, shit, you fuck around and can stop him. If you can get to that point, though. First, you got to get to that point. First, you got to get to the point where you can put doubt in Errol Spence's mind, which is going to be extremely difficult. If you haven't noticed yet, the brother is mentally tough as fuck. Mental fortitude on 1,000. You know what I'm saying? Mental fortitude on 10,000. If you ain't realized it yet, dude got through 30, 40 feet in the air in a Ferrari at high speed, landed on pure concrete, and then came back, was 190 pounds, fought his way back to get down to 146.2. In phenomenal shape. Had enough money to say, shit, I can quit. I'm good. I got enough bread myself. Everybody in my family ain't straight, but I got enough bread myself. He could have just said, fuck it, I'm done. From 190 to 146.2? Why would I do that? Why would I put myself through that stress? I'm going to keep eating pizza and steak and all this shit. I'm going to keep doing whatever the fuck I want to do. I made enough money. I'm good. Mental fortitude. So shit, if you think you gonna just make a motherfucker like that just fold, you got another thing coming. Oh, I got the eye injury. I missed out on the biggest fight of my life. Manny Pacquiao, fuck. And I just had the car accident too. Shit, I might as well just say, fuck it, man. Shit, I'm done with this shit. Ain't no reason for me to keep doing this shit, bro. I'm going through too much for this shit. Man, say, But look at him right now, though. You gotta be a sicko up here. You gotta be sick in the head to be doing what Errol Spence doing right now. You gotta be sick in the head, man. You gotta be different. Your mental fortitude gotta be on astronomical levels. So if you gotta knock his ass out, bro. You not finna just put him down and make him stop coming for. You gotta hurt Errol Spence and you gotta knock him out, bro. That's it. People look at Earl, they listen to him, they like, oh, he's just so, oh, he's soft spoken, he don't say much, you know what I'm saying? I keep thinking keep thinking it's sweet. You know what I'm saying? Keep thinking that shit sweet. I'm telling, shout out to my brother Big Tex 33 in the building. What's good? Keep thinking that shit sweet. That's all I gotta say. Keep thinking that shit sweet. Cause I'm telling you, bro. That motherfucker, when he get in that ring and them lights up under him, and the crowd cheering like that, come on, bro. That man a dog. That man a dog, bro. Hard to beat. Hard to beat. Said real killers move in silence. That's why he don't talk much. Facts. Facts. That's facts, bro. You know what I'm saying? But see, I like that though. I like the fact that people be thinking shit sweet. I seen the interview. Shout out to the Cigar Talk. I don't know if I think they're like under the This Is 50 banner, but they did the interview with Errol Spence, man, and they was talking about the sparring match with Floyd Mayweather. They even talked about it on the Pivot, man. Shout out to the guys over at the Pivot, man. Hell of a show. I don't know if y'all fuck with like I'm Athlete and the Pivot, but man, them dudes do some really good interviews. I'm really pleased with what the Pivot is doing, man. I like their interview style, the questions they ask and shit like that. That was probably one of the most candid and most open and honest and relaxed and comfortable Errol Spence's I've ever seen. Like, I've never seen a more in-depth, like, candid interview from Errol Spence outside of the one that he did with Brian Custer. That was really good. That was excellent, but I really like the Pivot interview. You know what I'm saying? And he was talking about, the sparring match with Floyd Mayweather, how, shit, Floyd Mayweather was beating the living hell out of motherfuckers. Like, Floyd was getting ready for the Robert Guerrero fight, and he was beating the fuck out of all the sparring partners. Like, motherfuckers wasn't lasting. So they was like, shit, Floyd needs some new people to spar with. It's like he's stopping everybody in sparring. So Jalen Love, Luis Arias, they call Errol Spence. Mind you, Errol Spence, he built the name for himself in the amateurs, was an Olympian. He was voted from that particular Olympian team that had like Marcus Brown. I think they might have had Demetrius Andre. Maybe he was like the one before that. I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying? They had some motherfuckers on that team, but he was voted most likely to be successful as a pro boxer, right? So he was already had name and clout in the streets from boxing. You feel me? But they call Earl, he like 2-0, 3-0. They say, bro, we need you to come in and spar Floyd. He can't get no work. He's stopping everybody. He get in that bitch. He thinking it's just regular sparring, but shit, at the Mayweather gym, they got the doghouse. You feel me? He going that bitch, they beating on the mat. They expecting Floyd to just wash him. Because Floyd was killing shit. Floyd was stopping everybody. He was beat. You know how Floyd get in sparring. If y'all done seen any Floyd sparring footage, Floyd be in that bitch talking shit. He be in that bitch beating he be beating motherfuckers the fuck up, talking shit, call them all type of names, just treat them like dirt. You feel me? Going crazy on that because there's levels to this shit. But when Earl got in there, shit, he said that shit flipped the switch. You know what I'm saying? That shit made him, he was like, nah, hell no. You know what I'm saying? Now y'all think this shit sweet. I'm finna go crazy. I'm not one of these regular sparring partners who just finna come in this hole and lay down and shit like, no, I'm finna go in here and prove a point. And that's what he did. That's the type of competitor you dealing with. That right there show you the difference. And every time you hear Floyd speak on Errol Spence's name, it's respect. He might not say exactly what happened, but you can read between the lines because you can tell the way Floyd deal with everybody else, and you could tell how Floyd deal with Errol Spence. You seen that shit in the whole Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence situation. When Floyd was like trying to get them to fight for his belts, you seen the respect. You seen the respect. But that's just speaking to the mental fortitude of Errol Spence. That man different up top, bro. He different. He different. Said Floyd a damn savage in sparring. Facts. Facts. Because he ain't in that bitch just, it's sparring. So it's like he not trying to necessarily be perfect. Even though it's hard to hit him in sparring, he be more offensive in sparring than you see him. At least like the Floyd Money Mayweather at welterweight and shit. You know what I'm saying? We seen what Pretty Boy Floyd was like, but later on in his career, he was more focused on defense. But in sparring, he was still having motherfuckers nose bleed. I seen videos with Floyd. He like, shit, who blood is that on my shirt? It ain't mine. Yeah, Floyd was in that bitch beating boys the fuck up, man. Well, when he got to know with Earl, though, it was different. It was different. And then what? Later that same year, what Floyd do? He go whoop Canelo ass. That just lets you know the difference in levels. You know what I'm saying? Errol Spence on another level, man. That's facts. You dig what I'm saying? But look, man, I ain't gonna stay on here too long. I really just wanted to get on here, chop it up with y'all, man. Talk a little boxing. You feel me? Hey, man, look, if you in the city, y'all, number one, y'all have a good time and be safe out here. I hope y'all really enjoy the fight, all the festivities. You know what I'm saying? Dallas is a beautiful city. You feel me? It's a lot of good food, a lot of great people out here. So I hope y'all have a good time. Everybody, make sure y'all buy the pay-per-view if you ain't going to the fight. Of course, purchase the pay-per-view. Why the fuck not? You know what I'm saying? But look, I'm finna move around. I hope y'all have a great weekend, man. Salute to everybody that came through in the super chat, showing love and supporting. I appreciate it. Everybody in the regular chat, chopping it up, interacting with each other, man, talking this good boxing. I hope y'all enjoy yourselves, man. Contender regime boxing. I holla at y'all boys, man.